Welcome back. Last segment we thought about at least one significance of the symbolism of the necklace. I'd like to suggest another nuance in this passage from a cultural perspective. So, this line of poetry uses the Hebrew term gagarot for the neck here, but in the minds of the first audience, it may well have reminded them of the synonym nephesh, which often refers to the throat or the neck, and then by extension to breath, and then by extension further to a whole living person and life itself. So I'm suggesting that for the first audience, they get it, that the sage is teaching that God's word was never meant to be relegated to plaques to hang on walls or a piece of jewelry to dress up an outfit. No, it was intended to fill the mind of the follower of Yahweh, to be a necklace that encompasses all of life, the whole person. I think Jesus exemplifies this when tempted by the devil with respect to several roads of his life. I mean, the road of legitimate physical need, maybe not so legitimate sense of pride, desire for fame, lust for power. God's word was hidden in the very heart of the one who is the word become flesh, hung around his neck, adorned his life as the badge of authority as he consistently responded to the attack of the enemy with, "It is written, it is written, it is written." And the text reports, and Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit. Isn't that pretty much how the byproduct is described here in Proverbs 3:4? Then you'll find chen, grace, and sekel tov, good success. The outcome of acting wisely. Look at the text. Good success and grace in the eyes of God and humankind. And now, watch the parallelism in the opening of the next subsection, verse 5, where trust is in parallelism with lean, that makes sense, and heart is parallel with understanding. Not feeling, not mood, but understanding. See, parental wisdom is not saying don't use your understanding, but don't depend on it as the final arbiter, your final authority for what you believe and what you do. No. Put your trust, look at the text, wholeheartedly in Yahweh. No room for half-hearted, not grudgingly. If I have to, no. No divided loyalties. It's lock, stock, and barrel. The parallel pairs in verse 6 are derek and orach. Again, two synonyms designating a road, a path, a route, a way. So, for the first audience who actually lived in the geography and they felt in their calves and thighs the topography, the rigors of the topography around Jerusalem, the very notion of God's straightening out what otherwise is almost universally crooked and steep in the area. It's a delightful idea. We'll see later that Isaiah picks up on this real-life metaphor when he declares that a voice is calling, "Clear the way for Yahweh in the wilderness. Make smooth in the desert a highway for our God. Let every valley be lifted up and every mountain and hill be made low. Let the rough ground become plain and the rugged terrain a broad valley." Isaiah 40. And the gospel writers pick this up, don't they, and apply it to John the Baptist and to Jesus in Matthew 3 and Luke 1, Luke 3, John 1. But the first audience gets the pun. They understand that this is not about road building and paving. It's about life. It's not so much about living life on the easy, smooth road, no hills, no potholes. It's about living right. Even an English-only reader can check it out with something like the Blue Letter. The term that's translated straight, as in make straight your paths, it's the same word that's used by the sage in Proverbs chapter 2, verse 13 for uprightness as opposed to darkness. And in Proverbs 16:13 for right in parallelism with tzedek, righteousness. So, how's this supposed to come about? Look at the text. It comes about by my knowing Him. Now, I don't have a fuss with the translators who give us acknowledge. But my concern is that for a lot of our contemporaries, to acknowledge someone may mean nothing more than giving them a nod. Whereas the Hebrew notion of to know someone is not acquaintance, sort of a distant awareness. To know a person often carries a great deal more intimacy. So the discipling parent here is urging me to know God intimately along the road of my spiritual life, along the road of my family life, my professional life, along the road of my thought life. Get it? Along each and all of the roads of your life, know Him. And isn't that appropriate for persons who, by God's grace, are in covenant relationship with Him and are commissioned not just to know Him, but also to make Him known, to declare His glory among the nations? Some good food for thought, eh? See you in a bit.